Okay, so there were a lot of questions on 2.1 number 3, so I wanted to take a look at how to do that. The function that we're looking at is cotangent of t, and there's two parts. Part A is between pi over 4 and 3 pi over 4, and part B is between pi over 6 and pi over 2. So I have a split screen here. So the first part, what we want to do is we want to find cotangent of pi over 4. To do this, one way would be to think about your unit circle, and I have sketched that over here. If you look in the back, you do have a unit circle. Now remember, with your unit circle on your XY points, the X is always cosine of your angle and the Y is sine. So if we're looking for cotangent, cotangent is equal to cosine of your angle over sine of your angle by trig identity. So if we're looking at pi over 4, then we have this point right here, which is pi over 2 over 2, or square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. So if we put square root of 2 over 2 over square root of 2 over 2, we get 1. So cotangent of pi over 4 is 1. And then cotangent of 3 pi over 4, we look over here, and if we set negative square root of 2 over 2 over square root of 2 over 2, we're going to get negative 1. And so the 2 points that we're working with then are pi over 4 and 1, and 3 pi over 4 and negative 1. And then basically all you need to do from there is to find your average rate of change, basically just algebra, use your formula for slope. And I've done enough of those that hopefully you can get that one. So there's the first one. The second one, cotangent of pi over 6. So if we look at pi over 6, we're here at square root of 3 over 2 and a half, so we need to set cosine over sine. So that means take square root of 3 over 2 and put that over a half. So the 2's are going to cancel, and then we just have square root of 3 over 1. So the function value at pi over 6 is square root of 3. And then at pi over 2, we're here at the point 0, 1, so cosine over sine is 0 over 1, so that's 0. So the 2 points that we're working with there is pi over 6 and square root of 3, and then pi over 2 and 0. And so then your slope, again, is your average rate of change, so you need to do your formula for slope. So, and remember, your formula for slope is change in y's over your change in x's. So, and that's usually not the point where everybody gets stuck. It's usually the trig part of this and trying to remember how to do that, especially without a calculator, because you don't want decimal values on this. You want to try to get exact values. So you do need to know how to find some of this on your own. So let's call y sub 2 negative 1 minus y sub 1, which is 1. X sub 2 is 3 pi over 4 minus pi over 4. So we get negative 2 over a half pi, so pi over 2, which is going to equal negative 4 over pi. So there's the first one. That's the first average rate of change. The second one, we'll take 0 minus square root of 3, and then put that over pi over 2 minus pi over 6. So we have negative square root of 3 over, what, a third. If you get a least common denominator, you have 3 pi over 6 minus pi over 6. So that is 2 pi over 6, which is a third pi. So we would get negative 3 square roots of 3 over pi. And then those are your exact answers on those.